Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. We are doing our regular Wednesday night live mock draft. We're going to be drafting ESPN. Let me pull the screen share up for you guys. We're going to be drafting a 12-team ESPN draft, and then we'll be doing a sleeper 12-team Superflex draft. So here is the league. We're waiting for this to fill. I started a little bit early tonight. Good evening to everybody. We got Tony. We got Mr. Magic in here as well. I did see Harris at the 2-hole. Harris in the 2 spot. I see Tony always behind me at 11. I'm in the 10 spot. If anybody else is watching the stream with us and you're in your mock drafting, let me know. That'd be kind of fun. But I do have a sleeper mock draft loaded up here. We're going to be doing a 12-team Superflex draft after the ESPN draft. So I see Harris in there at the 3 spot. I'm in the 10. If you guys want to join that, please do. And otherwise, we got what? We got a little bit for this lobby to open here. It looks like it's going to open up in just a few seconds. But I want to say, hey, guys, if you guys are new to the Fantasy Fellowship, I just uploaded a bunch of updates here to the fantasyfellowship.com, and I'm still running that promo where if you guys check out the description, there should be a promo code in there to get you guys basically 40% off for the entire season, entire year, 365 days. You guys go to Mega Discount. The projections are there. You guys can download the cheat sheets. You guys can even check out the projections document. I just updated that as well, so you guys would get access to all my numbers here, all my cheat sheets. Everything here in the document would be yours. And then we did upload a couple other things in here too. What makes the number one? This data study was pretty cool. I've been making videos on the RB1s, the running back ones, QB ones, the tight end ones. I have to put out the receiver ones yet, but you guys will come. You guys will be able to see what stats we're looking for here to find, top 12 at the position. So check out the fantasyfellowship.com. Tons of stuff on there for you guys, and I'm just running an insane discount right now to get you guys signed up. But here we go. The draft is starting in about 20 seconds. Again, it looks like our man Harris, pick number 2. He's shifted. He's pick number 2. I see Tony pick 11, and if anyone else is in the chat with us tonight, shout out. We'll we'll have fun here drafting for the next probably about 30 minutes or so, and then we'll move into the sleeper mock draft. So Wednesday, we're underway. We got a Bijan Robinson 101. That's kind of a fun pick there. I do like the Bijan 101 call. I think Jamar Chase. We got Mr. Magic in the sleeper. Mr. Magic drafting in the 12-hole here. So join that sleeper draft, guys. I did post the link here for you. But we're underway in the ESPN draft. Harris was able to get 102 Jamar Chase, which feels pretty stupid. And I think if you're 102 and Jamar Chase is there, you're going to collect that almost every damn time. So good job on Harris here. But we're up at the 10 spot. I did put Amon-Ra St. Brown up as the thumbnail guy of the video. I'm not a big Amon-Ra guy. I struggle to take him here, especially at 10. I think Malik Neighbors, Devon Achane, even Brian Thomas Jr. I have better vibes towards these guys. I think I'm going to take Amon-Ra here, and we're going to just game this out and see how it feels. He's been one of the best receivers for the last handful of years here, so I have no issues with his game. At this point, I'm kind of nitpicking the Lions, man. I'm a little bit nervous about the Lions being able to. I mean, they're coming off like a career season. If you just look at everything across the board, like they had one of the best offenses of all time. And I'm just worried about a couple of things here with the Lions, especially the knee injury for Amon-Ra, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. There's just a lot of movement in Detroit. So I don't love Amon-Ra at pick 10. In my personal preference, I'm taking Achane. I'm taking Brian Thomas Jr., maybe Malik Neighbors, maybe Nico. But they're going to give me Brian Thomas Jr. round 2. So we're going to start Amon-Ra and BTJ here. And hey, good evening to Mr. Ron. Hope you're doing well. What are you doing with Judkins in Dynasty after hearing all the news about his situation? What's the lowest draft pick you would trade him for? I think if you've already drafted Quinshon Judkins, you're kind of stuck with Quinshon Judkins. I'm not going to sell him on a discount unless someone's willing to replace that first round value. If I can get equal value, you probably drafted him 105, 106, 107, somewhere in that range. If I can get equal value on that return, I'm going to do that. But I also was never really big on Quinshon Judkins to begin with. So I actually ended up with 0 Judkins shares. He's a guy that I have not been drafting in best ball leagues. I just don't see it there. At least for 2025, I do not see it there for Quinshon Judkins to be a valuable asset for fantasy starting lineups at all. So if you have him in Dynasty, I think I'd rather be trying to acquire him than trying to trade him away. I think now is like one of the cheapest prices that we can get for him. Who knows what happens, if he does get suspended or any kind of legal stuff, like that stuff's all going to happen at some point soon. So you could maybe, I think I'd rather be the guy buying Quinshon Judkins at a discount. If I can get him for a round 2 price tag, I'm kind of interested in that. So I'm not selling him. You drafted him early. You hold on to him. If you want to buy him, I think now is the time to maybe kick the tires and see what happens. And good evening to Nathan. Does the fact that BTJ did a lot better with Mac Jones instead of T-Law worry you at all? Our good friend of the show, Charlene, actually mentioned that last week. And it really doesn't really worry me at all. I think it took a little bit of time for Brian Thomas Jr. to just get acclimated into the offense. They were still running we had a healthy Christian Kirk. We had a healthy Gabe Davis. Like there was a lot of things for him to kind of overcome in the beginning. But if I look back here and we're looking at the wide receiver numbers, like BTJ he played really, really well. And you have to understand that like a rookie player, his job is to only get better and better as the season goes on. And it was also the job of the offense to continue to feed him the ball. But we saw some big games here from Brian Thomas Jr. He was catching touchdowns with Trevor Lawrence. He was catching a lot of passes. He was getting some carries here and there. He was making big plays. It wasn't until the season was kind of lost, and then the Jags were like, okay, like we really need to target him. And Mac Jones, man, he could really circle onto a guy and target him. So this is a great question, Nathan. I'm not worried about it. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be just like he was throwing to him just fine. These first 8 weeks of the year, these are pretty good numbers, and I think we can expect even better numbers in this season. And hopefully we're seeing these double-digit targets. So I think that's a very good question, and it's one to look into. But I'm personally not worried. We want a rookie receiver to get better and better as the year goes on. And the fact that he did it with Mac Jones should even have you more excited, because if he gets an upgrade at quarterback play, we're talking about some pretty exciting stuff here. So I'm all in on BTJ. I have Amon-Ra, Brian Thomas as my top 2 receivers here. I'm looking around. I'm not super excited about a lot of these players right here, but I'm going to do something that I haven't done a lot. I'm going to grab Lamar Jackson here, who I think is one of the best fantasy quarterbacks for 2025. Round 3, I'm kind of fine doing that. I don't really want to pay a round 2 price tag for a QB. But when we're up to pick, like we're looking at Lamar. I liked Breece Hall. Tony snapped on Breece real quick. Jaden Daniels is another guy that I like quite a bit, but Lamar Jackson, man, he was QB1 last year. He didn't win MVP. I think there's a chance for him to be even better. This year, you're going to have Mark Andrews healthy for a full season. You're going to have Rashad Bateman freshly paid. You're going to have DeAndre Hopkins in there. Isaiah Likely. We got some receiving backs. I think Lamar could be better in 2024 or 2025 than he was in 2024. But we're up to pick here. We have Lamar, Amon-Ra, and Brian Thomas. My guy Najee, man, don't trust him on the 4th of July around some fireworks. We're going to grab Amari Hampton, who is a guy that I'm comfortable putting in as my RB2. But I think with this mock draft, we're just gonna test it out and see how he feels as our legit RB1. I think he's a guy that the Chargers are gonna feed. If you guys remember, like Austin Eckler caught a lot of passes from Justin Herbert in his history, and that could be pretty exciting for a guy like Amari Hampton, because I just don't expect Najee Harris to be a guy where they're like, "Yep, we got to get him double-digit carries. We got to get him 3, 4, 5 targets per game." I think when you draft a first-round running back, Amari Hampton, that's the guy that they're going to want to center their offense around. And John Harbaugh, man, like the run sets up everything in that offense. and I'm coming around to Amari Hampton being one of my favorite picks. I think the fact that we can still get him as a third round pick is pretty good. I'm taking Amari Hampton definitely over Joe Mixon. I think he's in the same tier as Brees. Um, I might even take him over James Cook, man. I think maybe once we get closer to week one training camp, like we might see Amari Hampton start to climb up into the early third round of picks. So for now, I'm going to keep clicking on Amari Hampton as a guy that I'm comfortable him being my RB2 and I'm light on running back here. So he's my RB1, but I still think there's a chance that he gets there with 40, 50 catches and 200 plus carries. I think that's going to be fine for a guy like Amari Hampton. So as of right now, this is a great question by Ron. Like this is like a really, really deep one. I don't think I'm worried yet because these guys have all been at OTAs. Maybe Shamar Stewart, maybe that's the one that like just hasn't shown up. But like a lot of these guys have been at the mandatory OTA stuff. They've been present with the team and then practicing. If I see guys start to miss practice and I'm just like, hey, like, dude, like you're 21, 22 years old. Like, what the F are you doing missing professional practices here while you're trying to get integrated into your first NFL offense? That's what's going to make me nervous. A guy like Higgins, there's still time for him to get on the field and to figure things out. So I think we're looking at probably like a domino effect where once one guy makes a win with his contract, we're going to see other teams kind of start to model that, and we're going to see all these kind of ducks fall in a row. But for now, yeah, like there's a lot of question marks, man. And I think for redraft, like we're probably not really too worried about second round picks. Like I don't know how much Jaden Higgins is going to help us in redraft this season. Maybe down the stretch he's a starter, but for now, he's a deep pick. I think for now you continue to take guys that deep on your bench. But we're on the clock here. Laporta, Devonta, Zay Flowers, George Pickens, Jalen Waddle. I love all of these guys. I'm going to grab my boy, though, Zay Flowers, to stack with Lamar Jackson. Zay Flowers is going to be my wide receiver 3. Flowers was wide receiver 25 last year, so from a positional standpoint, I'm getting the best wide receiver 3 from last year. And I think he can be even better this year with the wide receiver 2 development. So we like Zay Flowers in this channel. Good evening to Aiden. Times aren't working out again. Just wanted to pop in for the algorithm. I appreciate you, Aiden. Thank you for hanging out. Hopefully you're having a good evening, working out or doing whatever. Maybe you're golfing, whatever you're doing, Aiden. But I appreciate you, man, for popping in. Happy Wednesday. But we're back on the clock here. We're avoiding running back like the plague right now. We have Amari Hampton, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brian Thomas, and Zay Flowers with Lamar Jackson at QB. I kind of want to grab Sam Laporta, but we already have Amon-Ra, so I don't know if I want to go balls deep on the Detroit Lions. What we're going to do here, and I really like TJ Hawkinson here, but I'm going to grab just a piece of this Miami Dolphins offense, which I think, they don't have the best offensive line. You send away Jonnu Smith, you got Devon Achane, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. Like that offensive coordinator's got one job: get the ball to those 3 dudes. And we're due for one of those years where Jalen Waddle finally overtakes Tyreek Hill and becomes like that possession player. Maybe like when he was a rookie, man, he caught a lot of short intermediate passes and he was kind of like a JSN type player. Maybe that's what they got to do. I'm not quite sure, but I think Jalen Waddle blossoms this year as long as he stays healthy. I think he's going to be a better player than Tyreek Hill. And I just keep coming back to like when I think about Miami offense, I think about Tua running and dumping it off to Devon Achane. And, when he can hit Tyreek Hill, he's going to hit Tyreek Hill. But I continue to think, man, like Jalen Waddle needs to take the next step or evolve into something to really be a difference maker for the Miami Dolphins. Harris, Caleb Johnson. So Caleb Johnson, round 6, I think I'm fine with. To me, he's kind of the same player as David Montgomery in this offense. I just don't think Caleb's going to catch, more than 25 passes. So I think this is a fair price for a guy like Caleb Johnson that can be kind of your low end RB2. But to me, like Caleb Johnson, Brian Robinson, like those guys are all kind of very similar to me. So I personally don't draft a lot of Caleb Johnson just because we like Jalen Warren so much in this offense. I do think there's a chance where Johnson can run hot and be the red zone back. But for a full PPR league, I'm not super pumped about Caleb, man. Unless he gets double digit touchdowns, that's the only way he beats us at ADP. It's a great question from Nathan here. I am pretty interested in a guy like Calvin Ridley. Now, the issue is I play a ton, Nathan, I play a ton of best ball, and that's where I'm getting a bunch of Calvin Ridley. I think in a redraft lineup where I'm setting my lineups every week, I'm not super excited about that. For redraft, I'm looking at some of the guys in the other range here. I'm actually just going to make a pick real quick here. I'm just going to grab Javonte Williams. I don't feel great about this right now. Just on the spot. But as far as Calvin Ridley, I think, yeah, he's going to get a lot of games where he's 6-7 points per game. But then otherwise, like when he gets that 120 yards and a touchdown on 4 or 5 catches, he's scoring me 24 fantasy points. I want him in best ball. If you can stomach him as your flex, I think he's going to be a fine pick. Again, that 6 to 7 point floor where he goes, a bad game from Ridley's going to be 3 for 32, 2 for 40, whatever it is. If you can stomach those 6s and 7s, I think he's going to be a fine pick, and he'll probably end up as a top 20 fantasy receiver. Because yeah, it is a pretty big upgrade from Cam Ward, or from Will Levis to Cam Ward. So I'm definitely interested. And good evening to Hussein. Hussein's in the mock with us. I want to know which number are you, my man? Okay, I am on the clock here real quick. I need another running back. I need a tight end as well. I grabbed Javonte Williams, so I don't feel great about as my RB2. But we're just gonna plug in Ramondre Stevenson here as our running back 3, and we'll have some kind of open competitions here. Which team is Mr. Hussein here? Salam. All right, Mr. Magic. Cheers. And hey, shout out to Mr. Magic, man. I appreciate you sharing the word of the Good Fantasy Fellowship here. Which team is Hussein here? 8 or 9? Yeah, let's get this sleeper mock draft filled here. We got Tony, we got Harris. I'm not sure who Mr. Freeman is, but we got Hussein in there. We got me. Ron's hanging out with us. We got almost a full sleeper mock draft here. So if you guys want to get in here, here is the sleeper mock draft link. And Hassan is asking, when do we start? We're going to start shortly after this ESPN mock draft, which we're halfway full. We're going to be done in maybe 5-10 minutes. At this point, we're just drafting our bench guys and just trying to figure out some sleeper picks. So we're going to be doing a 12-team Superflex mock draft very soon. I'm going to get back to Harris's question here. What do you think of the Giants' backfield? I think at this point, like I'm a guy that can appreciate Tyrone Tracy's skill set. I think he's kind of that version of Antonio Gibson, where he's a guy that, hey, he's going to catch passes. They're going to find ways to get him the ball in space, that kind of stuff. But he's not a guy you want to give the ball 20 times a game. That's if you're looking for that, that's Cam Scatabo. So I'm very much intrigued in taking a guy like Cam Scatabo. I'm on the board real quick right here. I'm just going to grab Jaden Reed. We're going to get our token Packer. And we'll continue to fill out our spot. But we have 5 good receivers. We got Amon-Ra, BTJ, Zay Flowers, Jalen Waddle, Jaden Reed. I feel very good about that. I think from this point on, we're just looking for tight ends and some backup running backs. But think about the New York Giants backfield. There's a lot of fumble issues for Tyrone Tracy. I think there's also, just a lot of inconsistency from him. He's also a guy that, he was a wide receiver in college, and he kind of had to learn the running back position on the fly. So he's not a well polished guy at all. Whereas Cam Scatabo, like he was when I did my data study, he was one of the best running backs at pretty much every metric. And the fact that he was able to do it at Sacramento and then do it at Arizona State, Harris grabs Cam Scatabo round 9, pick 2. I think round 9, dude, like, you just start to think about 2026. Like, could we be thinking about Cam Scatabo as like a round 4 or 5 pick next year? I think it's possible. I think he could just be the better all around back, and they kind of limit Tyrone to third down work. So Giants backfield, I'm open to taking both guys, but I'd rather prefer having Scatabo on my team from a long-term perspective. But hey, we're on the clock here. We'll get to Harris's question in a second. I do not love the running backs here. Tight ends are not super exciting either. I'm going to go ahead and grab Tank Bigsby. Just another guy that can get some touchdowns here. I'll probably end up starting Tank Bigsby if the Jags are favored to win or be into a close game. I think he's the guy that, if there's going to be touchdowns to be had in Jacksonville, they're going to be Tank Bigsby's. But there's a handful of backs here that I still like. Harris is asking a dynasty question. Drop Westbrook or Antonio Gibson? Harris, they're both droppable. Westbrook, Akine. Akine went on a really crazy touchdown run last year. He's not a good player. He's a good blocker. His best outcome is like Alan Lazard type levels. So honestly, Harris, I'm dropping both guys, and I'm not afraid to lose both guys. Is basically it. And let's see if we got the sleeper mock draft. So we're doing pretty good here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots left in the 12-team Superflex mock draft. So we're going to get started pretty soon. We are almost through this draft. We're entering the 12th round pretty soon, so we'll be done in just a few minutes here. At this point, I got Lamar Jackson. I usually don't draft an early QB, but I did so in this one. Our running backs are going to be, kind of figure it out, but I kind of like that. I'm open to having the running backs be a spot that's fluid and I kind of ride the hot hand. But Hampton, Javonte Williams, Ramondre Stevenson, Tank Bigsby, I'll look for another 1 or 2 guys to finish my bench depth. But as we look at the board right now, I kind of get rewarded with waiting on tight end. I think if I can get one of these rookies, Loveland or Tyler Warren, I am feeling pretty good about that. I'm actually going to draft Tyler Warren over Loveland. I think in terms of the pecking order for targets, Loveland's got to compete with, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, DeAndre Swift, Luther Burden, Loveland. There's 5 dudes that he's got to compete with in that cluster. Whereas Tyler Warren, man, to me, it's Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, and then it's probably Tyler Warren. I think Warren could be their number 2, number 3 guy in terms of receptions and targets as soon as this year. So he's a guy that I'm pretty excited about and I want to get on my team. Sure, I could draft another tight end here and see how that looks out for me, but I'm going to go back to the running back well. And I think week 1 with this team, we're starting Hampton and Javonte Williams, and then we'll see how the Patriots backfield looks. We'll see how the Jags backfield looks. But give me Trey Benson. Just give me one of those, classic handcuffs where, we know James Conner is going to miss some games. If James Conner misses games, I'm probably starting Mr. Trey Benson. So we'll see what happens there. But we still got 5 more spots to fill in this sleeper mock draft. At this point, we do have 2 more picks, and Charlene made it. Can we get Charlene in the sleeper Superflex mock draft? Do you have a sleeper account there, Charlene? The guys really need at least one more person in this Superflex sleeper mock draft. So good evening, Charlene. Join us if you can. We're moving and grooving here, entering we're in the 13th round now. And I think one of the best picks I think late you can do, I'm kind of getting excited about the Indianapolis Colts, man. Josh Downs, and hey, I can totally change it, Mr. Magic. We can change it to whatever we want. We don't have to do Superflex. I can change it right now. If we want to do a regular draft, if I can get votes in the comments, if you guys want Superflex, just say capital SF. If you guys want just regular PPR, just say PPR. let's get some votes going, and we'll do whatever I see the most of. Whatever I see the most of. And oh my goodness, Scott Sharp joining us tonight. He's got a surgery tomorrow night, so hopefully Scott's prepping and having a good night. But I just put the link back in there, Scott. Let me know if you can't get it. I'm on auto pick, so I completely missed a pick here. It looks like it gave us the Eagles defense, which at this point, the ESPN mock draft is just kind of on coast, so it's not a big deal. Mr. Magic does not like Superflex. That's interesting. We might have to have a conversation about that because I'm a big Superflex guy. I think regular 1 QB leagues are too boring. I think you need Superflex to really introduce some different types of builds and some different drafts and things like that. To me, I think Superflex it's the most elite form of fantasy football league. So that's why I'm pro Superflex. But I think we can. If you guys want, I'm gonna do what the majority wants for sure. But I do think Superflex. If you're not in a Superflex league, you got to find a way to get into one. I'm going to just grab another bench running back here, Jalen Wright. Yeah, let's and we won't. Harris wants Superflex. We've kind of been bouncing between 10 teams PPR, 10 team half PPR, 12 team stuff. Harris is asking, can we talk about Woody Marks? I'm gonna do one for the league here. If you guys want to do Superflex leagues. Next week, we'll do Superflex draft next week. I'm going to change it to PPR. We'll do the 12-team regular PPR draft, just your pepperoni pizza draft here. But Woody Marks, the Houston backfield's interesting. So this is one of the reasons why I don't feel good about Joe Mixon. It's because, one, they bring in Woody Marks via the draft. You already have Dameon Pierce, so I still think can run. Like Dameon Pierce's rookie season, like he's a good back. He just needs the right system. And then you bring in Nick Chubb. So we got 4 capable dudes to tote the rock. I'm nervous about Joe Mixon quite a bit. But for Woody Marks, I think he's the 4th on the totem pole. He's a guy that's basically going to be like your last man standing. I don't think he's draftable in a redraft league. I think if you're drafting Superflex leagues, he's a late 4th, 5th round pick sleeper. He's probably going to be one of the first guys you cut, unless we get some blurbs early August that, holy shit, like Woody Marks might be a guy. I think at this point, he's probably just a replacement level back. I don't see him being a stud starter keeper or anything like that. But I got one more bench pick to fill. I've really loaded this team up with running back depth here, and I think I'm going to continue to do that. I got Tyler Warren as my tight end 1. I would love another tight end, Brenton Strange, but we're gonna figure that out later. I think I'm gonna keep drafting bench running backs. Like, hey man, Josh Jacobs gets hurt, Marshawn Lloyd, boom, next man up. So we've loaded a lot of running backs here on this team. All right. And did we get Scott in there? I'm wondering if Scott's 0. All right. Well, we'll get Scott on the show next week. I do think if you guys are interested, I think Monday night we're looking at logging we're going to be doing a drafters $20 best ball draft. I'm going to be calling that Monday night. I think we're going to do that at 6 p.m. Central Time here in the States. And I can't remember where Scott's from. I know Scott's somewhere in England or Europe, but Scott, remind me where you're from, man, just so I can get on a better schedule with you. But this coming Monday night, we're going to be doing a drafters $20 Superflex best ball. If you guys have not done best ball yet, like you gotta try. Whether it's DraftKings or drafters or Underdog, you guys got to start playing some best ball because it is the most fun thing to do. You just pay your money, you draft your teams, you don't have to do any lineup stuff, and you just collect money at the end of the year. So a lot of fun. Best ball is my preferred format, but I just want to say we're going on about 30 minutes here. I see 14 people in the chat, so I don't know how many likes the video has, but if we can get up to a decent amount of likes here, subscribe if you guys are new. I appreciate all the new people here with us tonight. We do this every Wednesday night. We're gonna do We're gonna do Superflex. We're gonna commit to Superflex next week. Tonight we have 1, 2, 3. We have 4 more spots left here, guys. If you guys have not joined it, we're just gonna do a regular 12-team PPR draft. Your pepperoni. I call it a pepperoni pizza draft. It's your classic 12-team PPR draft. We'll have fun doing this, but we're gonna get started. I'm going to hit the start button here. Harris is putting on the mileage, man. 36 best balls on the year, man. I love that. That's good. And Harris, that's probably sharpening you up. I think you're helping to make more decisions, and you're figuring out what positions and things you like. But here we are, guys. We're going to start this draft off tonight. The sleeper 12-team full PPR underway. Let's go. Tony's on the board, 102. And Justin Jefferson 101, man, you don't really see that a lot. So for 102 to have the chase between Chase, Barkley, Bijan, I think you're feeling pretty good about that. And I would say for me, best balls, I've only done a handful of fast drafts this season. I like the slow drafts. I like being able to think about a pick for a few minutes, making sure I got the right schedules, all that stuff. And if you guys are new to my YouTube channel and the fantasyfellowship.com, I do offer a free best ball cheat sheet where if you guys are playing best ball, you guys, especially Underdog and DraftKings, you guys got to go check this stuff out. But I'm on the clock real quick here. I'm not taking Amon-Ra on this one. I've taken enough Amon-Ra St. Brown for today. We've taken him once today. We got 15 seconds here. We want a running back. We want a receiver. I don't know who we want. We're just going to continue to take Brian Thomas Jr. just for vibes. But this best ball cheat sheet, you guys can download it. It's going to tell you who's playing weeks 15, 16, 17. It'll give you the week 17 schedule. I'll tell you how to read the chart. And basically, I had a pretty good best ball season last year. I took 12th place in a pretty big championship on DraftKings, and we came away with some nice money. But I like to focus on the whole fantasy playoffs, weeks 15, 16, and 17. So I kind of work my way backwards, where if I'm taking Arizona Cardinals, yeah, I want to take Cincinnati Bengals with it, but I also want to mix in their week 16 and 15 opponents and kind of figure that out. So I kind of like to layer my stuff a little bit deeper. But here we are. I'm up to pick again. You're going to give me the opportunity for Brock Bowers, McCaffrey, Devon Achane. Like, yeah, I'm going Devon Achane here. We got the Florida boys, Brian Thomas Jr. and Devon Achane. But yeah, Harris, I'm pretty much only doing slow drafts right now. And I've always been a big drafters guy. I really don't like Underdog. I'm not a half PPR guy. And I find Underdog to be just kind of unrealistic. I think there's just a lot of dudes in there that are just forcing things, and I personally just don't like drafting an Underdog. As of right now, I think DraftKings is the best place to put your money. It's the biggest market. You get a lot of different ranges of type of players. I was able to win $4,000 on a $3 entry last year. To me, I'm going to continue to play DraftKings. And I might have. I probably didn't set this up correctly because we had it set for Superflex. I forgot to get rid of the. Can I still do that? Let me see if I can change this real quick. All right, we're good. So, Mr. Magic, the settings, you are drafting 1 QB, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a tight end, and 2 flex. And then we got a handful of bench guys. So, good catch there. I still have the super flex guy loaded up in there. I'm curious what you guys think about the Garrett Wilson contract. Is he a guy that you're willing to put on your teams this season? I think he's a, I think he's going to be a nice wide receiver 3. I still don't know if I trust him to be my wide receiver 2 in my starting lineup, but I think, if I would have started my draft with 2 receivers and came back with Wilson as my 3 and I'm just a wide receiver heavy team, I think that could have kind of been fun. But we're on the clock here. Devon Achane, Brian Thomas Jr. already on my team. I don't love this board. Daniels, Jalen Hurts. If I want to go to quarterback, I can totally go QB here. I'm going to try something different. I'm just going to grab Rashee Rice as my wide receiver 2. I'm not super into Rashee Rice this season, but I do understand, hey, he's probably Pat Mahomes' most trusted receiver target in 2025. He's coming off that knee injury, though, so I need to see some data points in training camp to see how he's looking. Is he on track for week 1? I want to get a reassurance on Rashee Rice before I'm buying in, because man, when he was playing the first couple of weeks last year, he was the only dude for Kansas City. Kelsey still wasn't really putting up numbers. Xavier Worthy still wasn't really trusted. Hollywood Brown wasn't really part of the offense yet. There's a lot of things that weren't existing when Rashee Rice was popping off. So I'm somewhat curious what happens, but I still think wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 prices are pretty good for Rashee Rice. And we got a lot of running backs coming off the board here. Hampton, James Cook, Alvin Kamara. I still have Devon Achane as my RB1 here. BTJ, Rashee Rice as my top 2 receivers. Again, I'm not super in love with this back end of round 4, or the beginning part of round 4. I could take a quarterback here, whether it's Jaden Daniels or Jalen Hurts, and feel pretty good about that. I see Ron grabs Kenneth Walker and Amarian Hampton. McLaurin, Mike Evans. I kind of like Devontae Adams. I think I'm willing to bet on him as a guy that could potentially produce again. But I think I just got to take one of the best players. It's just Jaden Daniels, man. Whether he's going to run for 900 yards or throw for 3,900 yards, I just think, why take McLaurin, Evans, Devontae Adams, George Kittle, guys that are older that I don't really know what I'm doing with? Give me Jaden Daniels, who I feel very, very good about, and potentially being able to grow in year 2. Not to say McLaurin or Evans or Devontae, these guys are bad picks. I just when it comes to it, I'm going to take a swing on that younger player. And yeah, hero receiver feels good this year, Mr. Magic says. We'll see what happens, man. I still think part of me wonders if, last year we saw running backs really shine, but I don't know if I trust that. We had a lot of old running backs shine last year. I mean, to me, I'm not really clicking a lot of Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey. I even find myself shying away from volume guys like Josh Jacobs or Kieran Williams or Joe Mixon. I just get nervous about those guys. So to me, I'm looking for young backs. Devon Achane's like a young back, and he's hopefully going to get a lot of catches for me. But I kind of want to be fluid at running back. And I'm actually thinking this might be the year to go all in on top end wide receivers, just because I don't think last year is going to repeat. I think last year a lot of people won based on running back play. I think this year could be the year for receivers. So who knows what happens, but we're on deck here. We got BTJ, Rashee Rice as our top 2 stud receivers, Jaden Daniels and Devon Achane at the top. I missed on Sam Laporta. I'm kind of jealous there. Hassan grabbed Sam Laporta from us. Don't need a QB. Montgomery, Worthy. I already got Rashee Rice. This is not the best board. This is actually a pretty shitty board here. I don't really love any of these guys. I'm going to do something weird. I'm going to grab TJ Hawkinson. And that's the good part about mock drafting is doesn't fucking matter. Whatever we do is what we do. I'm going to continue to learn and try different stuff. Harris is asking, who's your favorite backup running back? My good friend Jesse and I were talking about this earlier today, which was what's the biggest discrepancy between a team's first drafted running back and their second drafted running back? So a team's number 2 running back, hey, Miami Dolphins, I like Jalen Wright. I like Trey Benson. I like a lot of those guys that are just being kind of forgotten. If I scroll on down here, guys like Jordan Mason, Zach Charbonnet. I still think Ramondre Stevenson's his team's RB1, yet he's being drafted as his team's RB2. I like Cam Scatabo, who's considered the backup running back right now, but I think he could be the team's lead back. So those are some of the names that first come to thought. But we're on deck here, Harris. We're gonna grab some good players here. Let's see what we got. Ron goes Mahomes and Harvey. Mr. Magic goes McMillan. I like the McMillan pick here. That was a pretty good pick. And your running backs are pretty stacked. Godwin could be a huge escalator for you if he comes back and starts humming. But I'll tell you what, I don't have an RB2 yet. I'm gonna grab David Montgomery. He's just a guy that, hey, if he doesn't get a touchdown every week, I know I'm getting 80 to 90 yards. I should feel good about Montgomery. Harris is asking Jordan Addison or Jaden Reed. Personally, I prefer Jaden Reed because I think Jordan Addison, sure, some weeks he's going to be the best player on the Vikings in terms of fantasy points. But if you really think about it, the Vikings, one, they want to run the ball. And when they throw the ball, they're looking for Justin Jefferson. TJ Hawkinson's going to be involved. So I kind of see Addison as like the third or fourth fiddle of that offense, and he's going to be wildly inefficient. Whereas Jaden Reed, I know he's a slot receiver. I know he's their smallest receiver, but he is one of their best receivers. I think there's going to be a lot of weeks where he is their number one receiver, whether it's 4, 5, 6 games, but he's also got a high floor. Personally, if I have to just leave a guy in my lineup every week, I'm probably going to want to leave Jaden Reed in there as the wide receiver 3. Yeah, and I do think the talent question is, give me Addison. If I just had to start a guy as my wide receiver 2 on an offense every week, I'm going to go Addison. But I worry a little bit about him kind of being the third or fourth guy in that offense. Also, you kind of have a rookie quarterback with J.J. McCarthy, who I know is not a rookie, but it's his first season starting. I think, and then you have the court case. Like he's freaking at jury right now. So I usually don't like to draft guys that are involved with the police and the courts and stuff like that because I just don't think they're good people. Mother Licker's been caught speeding twice, so I kind of view him as kind of just a knucklehead, anyways. But I could just be a Packer fan saying that. But to me, Jordan Addison, he's really fast on the field and on the driveway, whatever it is. But give me Jaden Reed. And hey, man, I'm a big Matthew Golden fan as well. We'll talk about the Packers running back or receivers in just a second. I need to draft some more receivers here. I don't see a ton that I'm like super in love with. I actually like Mark Andrews at this point. This is a redraft. I'm just gonna grab Khalil Shakir. But for the Packers, dude, I really struggled to project the Packers. I think they're a team that is going to throw the ball a little bit more than people expect this year. You had last year, Jordan Love get hurt, the knee injury. You saw Malik Willis play, and they had to lean into the run. I think last year's numbers are last year's numbers, and you're going to see a little bit more balanced attack this year. You also have Tucker Kraft getting better. You have Jaden Reed getting better. Dontavian Wicks getting better. You have less Christian Watson because he's kind of coming back from rehab. There's so many moving parts here, and I don't know if there's a correct answer as to which Packers receiver to draft. For me, I want Golden, I want Jaden Reed, but I'm not going to reach on them. I'll draft whatever one falls to me. I'll feel comfortable drafting whoever falls to me, but I think there's room for both guys to kind of be like a Zay Flowers type pick where you're comfortable with them being big points and their low games are 6, 7, 8 points, something like that. I think that could be super, super nice. But it's round 8. I got 15 seconds to do the job. I need one more starting receiver. I don't see one here for me, so I'm going to continue to grab running back. And hey, guess what? It's Jalen Warren. Sorry, I don't do mock drafts. Well, so to me, I don't think there's any value to mock drafting with defense and kickers, Charlene. I think you should mock draft to mock draft and figure out, the main parts of your team Defense and kicker, man, they're going to be different every other time you do a draft. So I think, for at least the first 8 to 10 rounds, Charlene, you could join us on Sleeper, and you could just dip after 8, 9 rounds. Just get your roster kind of locked in if you want. Um, this is a good question, Harris. Which old piece of shit receiver do I want more? I do not want DeAndre Hopkins at all. I don't see DeAndre Hopkins couldn't even play in the Super Bowl last year. DeAndre Hopkins is not draftable. He should not be drafted on best ball leagues. DeAndre Hopkins is going to catch 2 touchdowns this year, probably week 1 and 2. But he should not be on. He should not be on your redraft teams. He should not be on your best ball teams. He could not even crack the Chiefs roster last year. That's without Rashee Rice, without Jalen Royals, without a healthy Hollywood Brown. DeAndre Hopkins might be one of the worst picks you can make on your team. And yeah, I honestly think Keenan could be done. Like, for him to not be on a team yet, that really concerns me. The Steelers don't want him. Where else can Keenan Allen go and get money, but also get targets? There's really not a lot of options. So I think I actually cut Keenan Allen in a dynasty league. Nobody wanted to trade for him, and I'm just like, you know what? I need to pick up Darren Waller. So I picked up Darren Waller. That's just kind of how it is. But we're on the board here. I'm going to grab one of my favorite sleeper receivers. That's Emeka Egbuka. I don't have a Tampa Bay Buccaneer player yet, but he's a guy that if Godwin doesn't look the same, or if Evans gets hurt and he's just another year older, like, there's a chance. I'm going to take a chance on a first-round receiver like Emeka Egbuka. Hussein did grab my Josh Downs, which I was pretty disappointed about, but Egbuka is a guy that I think you want on your benches this year. And yeah, Mahomes does spread the ball week to week until you look at the numbers and see, hey, Travis Kelce still gets 8, 9, 10 targets. Rashee Rice got plummeted with targets. I think either way, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce, these are all guys you want on your teams for this year. But I'm not saying to draft Marquise Brown is really only best ball. Give me Marquise Brown in round 14 of best ball leagues, wherever round he's in. Redraft leagues, I'm not drafting any other Chiefs receiver besides Worthy and Rashee Rice. And this one, Harris, is not close. This next question. But I'm going to continue to draft some guys here. Nobody wants Ramondre Stevenson. I do, every time. But hey, guess what? Josh Palmer. I think after Khalil Shakir, Josh Palmer is your number 2 receiver for the Buffalo Bills. Keon Coleman's not a good receiver unless he was some way able to transform or enter his chrysalis and turn into a butterfly this offseason. I don't think Keon Coleman's a good player. I'm not buying Dalton Kincaid. I think it's Khalil Shakir, James Cook, and then sprinkles of Josh Palmer, Dalton Kincaid, maybe Keon Coleman every now and then. I don't think we're going to want either of these players, Harris, in redraft leagues. I think best ball leagues, yes. Redraft leagues, like, what's the point? Same thing, redraft league, what's the point? But best ball leagues, they're in the same tier. It depends. If you want to draft Josh Allen and grab Josh Palmer, do that in best ball. If you want to draft Cedric Tillman and grab Joe Flacco, Shador Sanders, whatever you want to do, that's fine. But these guys are probably not difference makers in fantasy football this season. I always thought this was the most likely thing, Charlene, for him to just go back to LA and be a guy that can catch 50, 60 balls, and most importantly, just stay healthy. You have Ladd McConkey, which takes some of the slot reps. If you can just find a way to get Keenan and Ladd on the field at the same time, I think this makes a ton of sense. This would be my dream scenario. Otherwise, we get him, I don't know, where's Keenan Allen's best opportunity to go and catch passes? Here's the sleeper. Arizona Cardinals. They need a wide receiver too next to Marvin Harrison. Keenan to the Niners, Lions. I'm saying his best fit is the Arizona Cardinals. Put him on the Cardinals. You got Marvin, Keenan, Michael Wilson. He ain't coming to the Packers. To me, I think the Arizona Cardinals would be a lot of people go to retire in Arizona. JJ Watt did it. A lot of people like that, whatever. To me, I'm curious what other people think. Michael Wilson's, he's not a good dynasty player, Harris. Josh Downs or Michael Pittman Jr., to me, it's not close. I think Josh Downs is one of the best receivers in football. If you just say, hey, like skill set wise, like who's one of the best players, I think it's very clear. Like Josh Downs is a damn good wide receiver. I'm going to collect a backup running back here and just see what happens. Jaden Blue. I think Michael Pittman's fine, but give me Josh Downs, who's probably going to lead the team in receptions, targets, yards, touchdowns, and I don't care who the quarterback is. He's not on teams. He's not on a team, Charlene. I can't really have thoughts on a guy that's not existent right now. You know, it depends on where he signs. I don't really want to dabble with the hearsay of, you know, predicting where he goes. But for now, he's not in the ecosystem, so I can't really have thoughts on Amari Cooper. Michael Wilson, like that was one of the most shocking things in the NFL draft. Is that to me, the Arizona Cardinals, they did not upgrade their number 2 receiver position. So that's kind of why I expect big things out of Marvin Harrison. Like the only logical thing for them to do is be like, all right, we're going to run it back with the same ragtag group of backup receivers. We got to get Marvin more involved, and we got to get Trey McBride more touchdown opportunities. Like those are the only fucking 2 thoughts that the Cardinals should be having on offense. So I'm hopefully doubling down on those 2 guys. But we're back on the clock here. At this point, the draft's pretty much done. I want to continue to draft backup running backs, but I need more receivers. I don't really have a ton of receivers here. I hate Keon Coleman. He's one of my least favorite players of all time. I just don't like Keon Coleman. I'm sorry if you like Keon Coleman. We're going to take a chance here on Ray Davis. Just a handcuff running back. James Cook, he's in a contract situation. If he gets hurt because he's not practicing, whatever, like pulls a hammy, like cool, we'll figure it out. But we'll grab Ray Davis, who I think's good. We're just going to find out how good pretty soon here. And to me, I think the way that I've been kind of going about my drafts is I want to make sure I like my receivers early. I want to make sure I have at least one good running back that I can depend on. I want to have a top 5, top 10 tight end. I like waiting for QB. This is one of the few instances where I drafted QB late. But most of my bench, I just want lottery RBs. That's pretty much all I want. Let's do Superflex for sure, though. Next Wednesday night. And I want to say thank you to everybody joining us. We have 14 people live in the chat with us tonight. If you guys are still here, don't forget to hey, I'm a small YouTube channel. Do you guys know how much a simple like means for a video? Like it basically just broadcasts out to the rest of the YouTube ecosystem that, you know, people should watch this video. So if you guys are enjoying this video, please, the least you can do is just like it, subscribe if you guys are new. It helps me grow. And you know, whatever. I make like $8 a month off YouTube, you know. So we're just growing here. I appreciate you guys, and I really like this new format that we stumbled upon. We do an ESPN mock draft to start the night, and then we finish with a Superflex. And I think from now on, we're going to continue to vote on the Superflex and figure out what format you guys want to do. And yeah, Charlene and I agree on this one. I need more receivers. Receivers are ick, though. BTJ, Rashi Rice. God damn it. I need a running back. Give me Jalen Wright. I just locked up Devon, Achane, Jalen Wright. Oh, it was Trey Harris. My bad. Josh Downs or Trey Harris. This one's not close, Harris. I think it's Josh. It's not even they're not even on the same field. Trey Harris probably doesn't even start week 1. Trey Harris might only get 10 snaps week 1 as he's behind, you know, Ladd McConkey, Mike Williams, Quentin Johnston. There might be another guy he's behind week 1. Who really knows what happens? This one's not close. Josh Downs is the best receiver on his team, and he's going to catch probably the most passes. Maybe Tyler Warren does, but I don't think it's close. I don't know how to do that, Harris. A dynasty draft, I just don't know how many people that's going to help. We can maybe do like a rookie draft. You think, is that something that would interest you guys if we do a rookie draft? if we just do a rookie-only draft where we're just maybe 4 or 5 rounds where we're just drafting a fake dynasty team. I don't know. I'm open to suggestions and ideas as to what we could do. For me, this season, I think I'm still taking Josh Downs over Ricky Pearsall, but I do think, Juwan Jennings holding out for a new contract or a trade, suspicious. Can the 49ers just have one freaking just a normal receiver that just shuts up and shows up to work, doesn't get shot, doesn't demand a trade, doesn't demand a contract? I just want one normal receiver in San Francisco. We don't get it. We do not get it. To me, it's still Josh Downs. I do think Ricky Pearsall is a good player, though. I think he could be a sleeper pick, but I'm taking Josh Downs. In a full PPR, give me Josh Downs. Half PPR, you could probably convince me of Ricky Pearsall. But we're on to our last pick of the night here. I'm kind of just winging it. I got a lot of bench pieces here. Ramondre, Jaden Blue, Ray Davis, Jalen Wright, some backup receivers, whatever. I think this one's a little bit more close. I might lean Jacoby Myers here, but I think it's a true toss-up. Jacoby Myers is the clear number 2 target after Brock Bowers. He's also kind of the number 3 player after Ashton Genty, whereas I think Josh Downs could be the number 2 player after Jonathan Taylor. I might lean Josh Downs here, and I'm probably going to go update my Josh Downs projections after this video. So there you go. I'm going to lean Josh Downs over Jacoby. Final pick of the night for me. Backup QBs, backup tight ends, running backs at this point. I think Marshawn Lloyd. I don't know. I'm just going to grab Demario Douglas, who I think could be a PPR factor. But there you have it. There's your sleeper 12-team mock draft. Okay, so what we'll do next Wednesday night, if you guys want to vote before we draft it, I think for the lead right now, we should let's do a rookie draft next week. That could be kind of fun. That's something different for us. We'll do a rookie draft. As of right now, I'm going to just pencil in a rookie draft for next Wednesday night. And then Josh Downs or Darnell Mooney. I think you're going to be more comfortable starting Josh Downs on a redraft basis week to week. Mooney, best ball. I think you want Mooney in best ball. He's the top 100 pick there. But for redraft, give me Josh Downs. And I think you'll be happy. But either way, guys, that's it. Thanks for hanging out with me on this Wednesday evening. I hope you guys all had a good time. And again, Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Central Time. If you guys want to join me again next week, we're going to continue to do this the rest of the summer. So there'll be more opportunities. But I just want to say thank you to everybody hanging out, especially Charlene, Mr. Magic. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you soon. Peace.
Got me feeling icy.